Today we're going to do a simple pysanky, and I'll show you from the beginning. The first step is to blow the egg out. So scribble some pencil on a piece of paper to find the spot that you want to use for your hole. Rub your egg on it, and that will show you the spot to drill. You'll be using a small push pin to drill a large hole in the large end of the egg. And a small hole in the small end of the egg. You blow through the small hole and out the large hole, and you'll need to puncture the yolk before you blow it. Egg is blown out, cleaned, and dried. The time is to wax the hole so you want to plug up your holes in your egg. So the next step is to light your candle, and using your pisca, in the side of your candle with the large end of the kisca pointed to the ceiling, you'll heat up the kisca and then dip it in the wax to fill it with wax. You can use beeswax or microcrystalline wax or candle wax in a pinch if you want to. When you see it start dripping off the end of the kisca, it's warm enough. So you'll fill it with wax and always keep the large end pointed at the ceiling. I've bridged my hole on this egg with a little dot of paper glued on because the holes are a little harder to fill if you don't, if you have a large area. So I'm just putting wax around that to seal it so that when it goes into the dye, it doesn't fill up with dye and start drooling out all over your design. When you're ready to put your design on the egg, you can draw lightly with pencil. A good way to divide your egg is to put a rubber band around it to give you something to use as a guide to draw with. So you just don't want to draw a lot of pencil onto your egg, or it will be hard to get rid of when we're done. So this divides your egg in half. And then we'll do a small design on one side. We'll just make a chicken and make it freehand. Don't spend a lot of time drawing with the pencil. Once your design is on, you're going to take your kisca, again heat it, and again if it needs wax, fill it. You can test on your paper. And then when it's ready, you just draw on your egg. Now this looks black, but where I'm drawing will turn out white. And the reason for that is this wax has soot in it, so it looks black. But this is a wax resist method of decorating eggs, similar to the little white crayons that come in Easter egg die kits. And every place that you put wax is going to stay the color that's under it. Our first dye bath is always going to be the lightest color that you're using, and this time we're using yellow. Our dye is cold, so it doesn't melt the wax back off, and every place that's not covered with wax will stay yellow. Bring it out, dry it off. When your egg is completely dry after the first dye bath, it's time to wax over the yellow. This time, every place you put the wax will stay yellow, not white. I'm using the red kisca, which is the large size kisca. It covers, it has a little bit wider line and covers more area. The blue one is the medium one, and the white one is tiny. If you run out of wax, it's probably that your kisca has cooled off or that you just need to refill it with wax. And it is really a better idea to dip your Kiska in the wax when it's hot, because if you try and do it when it's cold, it's really hard on the Kiska. So this egg that I'm decorating is just freehand, but a lot of the traditional ones are more geometric. And those you might want to do a little bit more measuring and marking on with a pencil before you start. But my suggestion is to just play with it for the first couple of eggs. Have fun, freehand. And this time we're going to put the egg into a slightly darker dye. That will be the pink color. And so that will be our second dye bath and our third color, because we also have white. So this dye bath of pink, you'll start to be able to see where the yellow is going to show up on the egg. And again, you'll want to dry it off completely before we go on to the next step. This will be our last dye bath. You could go on and do slightly darker colors and put even 2 or 3 more colors ending up with black. Every place I'm drawing now will stay pink, and then we'll dye it in a dark blue. So the more colors that you have, the more interesting the design, and the more divisions and lines there are in the egg, the more complex your design is going to look. But I'm making quite a simple design just so you can see how this works. I'll make a few flowers around for the chicken. So this time we're putting it in the dark blue. You'll see every place that I've drawn on now will stay pink when the blue comes on. And that's really all there is to it. That's, as I say, you could go on and add a few more designs and layers of color, but just the key is to work from light to dark, and it's important to just get your mind around the fact that where you're drawing will stay light. So when you're ready to take this off, get a couple of them, put them in a cardboard egg carton. Do not use a plastic egg carton. Put it in a 200-degree oven for about 5 minutes and all the wax will melt off. The traditional way is to do it in the side of a candle, but it's very easy to scorch your egg and wreck your design that way. But I'm going to do it that way just for a second to show you what colors we've got underneath there. And when you take your wax off, it will spread over the surface and protect your design. But you can also varnish it if you want to, or you can use floor wax if you want to on your egg just to varnish your design. So that's your final design. It's just a couple of steps of dyeing, and it's pretty easy.